BookTube. Here are some recommendations for YA romance for Valentine's Day. I'm Jen and I talk about audiobooks, and recently I did a collab video with my sweet good friend Mikayla from Love Mikayla Eve. And she talked about YA romance for Valentine's Day, and I talked about new adult romance for Valentine's Day. Well, this time we're going to switch, and I'm going to talk about YA, she's going to talk about new adult. So I have seen her new adult video, and she's got some good stuff on there, I have to tell you. I didn't know about some of the books that she brought up, so, you know, I had to add them to my TBR, and I think you'll find some good ones. So be sure and check out that video. It's linked below and up here, wherever the cards are. And I love YA romance. I'm not always in the mood for it, but the thing I love about it is that it's sweet and it's poignant and it's light. YA romance tends to stop at the end of infatuation and the beginning of a relationship where, you know, like Cinderella and the prince are going off into the sunset. Other kinds of romance tend to go a little further and get a little more complicated, but YA romance at its best is very sweet and light and just the kind of thing that you want sometimes. So I have some great recommendations for you, kind of across the board in terms of what they focus on. So let me just get started and show you. First up is 26 Kisses. This is by Michels. And it's not available on audio. I read it as an ebook with Mikayla, and it's all about a girl in high school who breaks up with her boyfriend and is getting over the heartbreak over the course of a summer. And her best friend says, I have a plan. I think you should kiss a boy for every letter of the alphabet. So the boy's name has to start with every letter of the alphabet. So 26 kisses. And this becomes a story about realizing that a relationship and romance is not all there is to life. And when you focus on that solely, then you miss a lot of what's going on around you. So great little book. I really liked it, and just a really, really good, sweet look at that. Next up, I have The Vincent Boys by Abbi Glines. On audio, these are narrated by Shayna Thibideaux and Kirby Heybourne, and it's a duology. It's the Vincent Boys and then the Vincent Brothers. And this is for you if you like drama, like soap opera drama. It's all about a girl who's very straight-laced. Her boyfriend, who is the quarterback of the football team, goes away with his family for vacation over the summer for 2 or 3 weeks. Asks his best friend to kind of look over her and take care of his girl. And so his girl and the best friend start a relationship, a friendship, a close friendship. And when football jock comes back, it becomes clear that his relationship with this girl is not working. So things go from there. I'll let you kind of surmise what happens. I will tell you that this book is all about the football jock, and this book is all about the girl. And like I say, drama, 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 drama. So if you like that kind of thing, if you're entertained by that kind of thing, this is a great duology to try. One of my favorite books of all time, like in my top 10 of all time, is Every Day by David Levithan. This is a duology, Every Day and then Another Day. And this book has so many quotes on my Goodreads profile, which are just incredibly profound. It's the story of A, who is a being of indeterminate gender, and A wakes up in the body of people, like a different person every day. So thus the name Every Day. And he wakes up in the body of a boy, a high school boy one day, and the high school boy has a relationship with a girl, and he treats the girl really badly. And so A decides that she deserves a day that's just all about her. So he does that and falls for her. And so the book continues on with A trying to get back to her in all these different bodies. And it becomes all about realizing that what you see is not all there is to a person. In fact, sometimes it has nothing to do with who the person is inside. So Really lots of observations about that, lots of observations about love in general, all kinds of love, romantic love, altruistic love, brotherly love, just all kinds of things. And so this is a story, and then this is the story from the point of view of the girl that he falls for. I say he, but you know, you get it. So anyway, really, even if you don't want to read romance, you should read this because it's just full of all this great stuff. On audio, this is narrated by Alex McKenna. If you want a little bit of paranormal, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of fun, a little bit of adventure, then this is a great duology. This is the Unraveling duology by Elizabeth Norris. And on audio, these are narrated by Katie Schorr. This is all about Janelle, who is walking along the road. I think she's going home, and she's been at the beach, and so she's on this road. And she gets hit by a truck or car or something and dies right there in the middle of the road. And there's a guy that sees it happen, and he comes over and brings her back to life. Like, literally brings her back to life. She is dead, and he brings her back. And so she wakes up and doesn't know who he is, and they start a relationship, and it becomes this wonderful romance with all kinds of things around it. It really does focus on the romance, but it's also about this adventure, trying to figure out why apparently the world is going to end in 23 days. What's that all about? Janelle's dad is a cop, and so you get a little bit of mystery going on there, and she's got a best friend that is so wonderful. That character was really entertaining and enjoyable. Just a great series. This one ends on a cliffhanger, so if you're going to read it, then have this on hand. It's been out for a little while, and I loved it. I ended up giving it 5 stars, and I really do highly recommend it. Love and Other Unknown Variables is by Shannon Alexander, and it's not available on audio. I read it as an ebook, and this is all about a guy in high school. He goes to a special school for gifted people, and he is a brainiac when it comes to mathematics and quantum theory, physics, just all kinds of stuff like that. He is standing in a coffee shop one day. I think he's a senior, and he's standing in a coffee shop one morning getting ready to go to school, and he sees a girl, and she's got a tattoo on the back of her neck, and he's so intrigued. Well, it turns out she's the new girl at school, so he gets acquainted with her. His group of friends, their MO is that they try and one-up each other on pranks, and so the book is full of a lot of that. But this book really centers on this guy figuring out that life is not logical. It doesn't fall into a set pattern that you can depend on like math does. And it is poignant, it is sweet, and it's wonderful to see him grow to appreciate those around him and the unpredictableness of life, unpredictability of life. Loved it. What I didn't say is at the top of this list with another book that I'll tell you about. It's by Keary Taylor, and on audio it is narrated by Matthew Donahue. And I didn't like the narration, but I kept at it because the story is just so good. This is about a guy who is out partying one night with some friends, and he doesn't drive because he knows he's had too much to drink, but a friend of his does, and they all get in the truck and have an accident. Don't drink and drive. Bad idea. And in the accident, there's a guardrail that pierces this guy's throat and damages his vocal cords such that he can no longer speak. So that's what I didn't say. He has to get used to this disability and figure out how to deal with it. He does a lot of writing down and then holding up things. He walks around with a notepad. But it is suggested to him by some people that he needs to learn sign language. So he has this girl teach him sign language. She just doesn't want to have anything to do with him because he's a popular kid. I mean, he's you know, good looking, and he's a great guy. He has a great family, which is one of the best things about this story is his family. They are so amazing. Mom and dad, and I think sisters. They're just loving, and they take care of each other, and the parents hold him accountable, but not in a way where they're trying to control him. It's like he can understand that, yeah, they're probably right. This is for the best. So really, really great elements going on with regard to his family and just who he is. And then him dealing with his disability. And then this girl has her own situation going on. And as the romance develops, that develops. And so all around, it is just an amazing story. Really amazing. And really, seriously, if you want a little bit of teenage romance in your life and you want it to have a lot more depth than you otherwise would think, this is your book. Before I get to the last one on my list, I want to talk about two more, and they are honorable mentions. And the only reason I bring these up is because I talked about these two authors in my new adult video. The first is Julie Cross, and this is Whatever Life Throws at You. And this is a sports romance about a girl who lives in Arizona with her dad and her little brother. And her mom is out of the picture, and she has basically been running her family, making it work, you know, like taking care of everything. And her dad is kind of a washed up baseball coach, and he is recruited by an old friend for to become the pitching coach for a Major League Baseball team. So he decides to do that. So they're in Arizona and they move to St. Louis. I think it's St. Louis, Kansas City, somewhere up there in the Midwest. So the weather is a shock, the new school is a shock, you know, the new people are a shock to this girl. And she kind of falls for boy wonder pitcher that has had kind of an interesting past, but has kind of left all that behind and is trying to focus on just being a rookie pitcher who needs to prove himself. So the romance is a forbidden one because, oh my gosh, what if her dad finds out? And the great thing I loved about this book was the fact that she's not been allowed to become a kid, to act like a kid, to be a kid. She's had to be, you know, making her family stay together and take care of everything. You know, fix dinner, pay bills, take care of her little brother, get school projects done, stuff like that. And she gets into this situation where her dad is starting to step up. And so she has to realize she really is a kid. And it's okay to be a kid. There are good parts to it, and then there are bad parts to it, because she has to surrender some of that control. And I loved that about this book. And I love Julie Cross anyway. I go on and on about her, but you really should read her books. So this is great for sports romance. And then Tammara Weber has a series of 4 books called the Between the Lines series. And that's all about a group of people who are high school age, and they're all in the movies. So they're all actors, and they all get cast to be in a movie, which is I think it's a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, set in a high school. And it starts out with this girl who has been kind of a low-level actress for a long time, and this is like the part of a lifetime. So she gets recruited to do that and gets thrown into this melee of all these actors and, you know, their wealthy lives and their wealthy appetites and tastes. And anyway, lots of drama, but a lot of fun drama if you like Hollywood and LA and that whole kind of idea. It's 4 books, and they're narrated on audio by Kate Rudd and Todd Haberkorn, and I loved them. So yeah, Tammara Weber, Julie Cross. Don't forget about them. Now, my very favorite of this whole list is one that I read, I don't know, a couple of days ago actually, and I couldn't not include it. I had to include it. It's called Cinder and Ella, and it's by Kelly Oram, and it's narrated by Kristen Lee. Cinder and Ella meet online, and they meet through her blog and their mutual love of a book series, a fantasy book series, kind of like Lord of the Rings. They have all these ideas about the characters and the way the plot has played out, and there's a movie coming out that's based on the books. And so they start into a conversation about that, big discussion. And so Cinder is instant messaging her and trying to get her address. And so she's about to type it on her phone when she and her mother are in a horrific car accident. And so she drops out of everything. I mean, she just disappears from her life, her blog, her everything. He thinks she has died. And so through the course of her rehabilitation, she is told, you need to build a support system. So she reconnects with him. And then, of course, it's the story of the romance. Gosh, you know, who is who? They don't know who the other one is. So there's that mystery going on. And the whole, you know, meeting and realizing that they're in love and all that kind of thing. It is wonderful. And it's got so much stuff in it about dealing with disability, dealing with people's reaction to a disability, especially after an accident. Kids being threatened by new things coming into their lives that they don't expect or want. And bullying gets in there, and oh my gosh, it's just so good. And I am amazed. There is a sequel coming out, but it's been delayed. So they're saying like this month or the next month. So we'll see. But I loved it. I ended up rating it 5 stars. It just had it all. So really, really good stuff. So those are my recommendations for YA books for Valentine's Day. If you want a little romance in your life and you want it to be YA, then those are some great, great ones to pick up. So if you have any recommendations, or if you've read any of these books, by all means, let me know. Let's talk about all that in comments. Don't forget to go check out Mikayla's video. And that's it for now for me. Happy Valentine's Day. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.